Hey, Jason here from Simply Swider. So if your Samsung microwave is showing an SE error code, that's SE, not the number 5E, and it's beeping nonstop with buttons that won't respond, don't panic. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to fix it. Good news is, most of the time, this isn't the expensive computer brain dying on you like you might think. Before we get started, if you run into any questions, jump into our Facebook group. Links in the description. We've got thousands of people helping each other fix their appliances, and I pop in there daily to help out. So the most common cause, and I'm talking about 40% of the SE codes I see, is a dirty ribbon cable connection. Here's what's happening. That flat ribbon cable connects your touchpad to the main control board, and cooking steam, smoke, and grease rise up from your stovetop and coat those silver contacts. Creates a false signal that mimics a button being pressed. I had this customer last month who was convinced her control board was dead. Turns out it was just grease buildup on the ribbon contacts. 15 minutes of cleaning and she was back in business. Here's your definitive test. First, unplug the microwave for safety. Remove the top vent grill, then carefully disconnect the flat ribbon cable from the control board. Power the unit back on. If the SE code is gone, you found your problem. Now, here's where most people mess up. They assume the cable is permanently damaged and start shopping for parts. Don't do that. Make sure the unit is unplugged, then grab a clean pencil eraser and some 91% rubbing alcohol. Gently clean those silver contacts, let them dry completely, and reconnect everything. This fixes the problem about 80% of the time and costs you nothing. Second most common, about 35% of cases, is the actual touchpad membrane has failed internally. What happens is those two conductive layers inside the keypad have fused together, permanently telling the processor that a button's being held down. I remember this lady who called me panicking because her microwave kept starting by itself. Turned out the start button was internally shorted. Here's how you'll know. If cleaning that ribbon cable didn't fix it, and the SE code only shows up when the ribbon is plugged in, your keypad's toast. Sometimes you'll feel specific buttons that seem mushy or flat compared to others. This one's a replacement job. You can't reliably separate those membrane layers once they've fused. The whole touch panel assembly needs to come out. Parts gonna run you anywhere from 75 to 135 bucks depending on your model. Now here's the thing most people don't know. Don't spray cleaner directly on the keypad. Always spray your cloth first. Liquid seeping into those membrane edges is exactly how these things fail. About 15% of the time, it's just a computer hiccup. The microprocessor got confused from a power surge or storm and froze in an error state. This guy called me after a thunderstorm, convinced his microwave was fried. Simple power cycle fixed it completely. Here's your test. Unplug the unit for a full 5 minutes minimum. This completely clears the microprocessor's memory and resets everything back to factory defaults. If the error appeared right after a power outage or electrical storm, this is probably your fix. If the SE code comes back immediately when you plug it in, then you're looking at actual hardware failure. Only about 10% of SE codes are actually the control board itself. This is when the main circuit board is misreading signals or has a physical short. Here's your definitive test. With that ribbon cable disconnected, if the SE code still shows up on the display, your board's the problem. I've seen visible burn marks or corrosion on the green circuit board when this happens, usually from severe liquid damage that dripped past the ribbon cable onto the components themselves. This one's a replacement job. Board repair needs micro soldering skills. You're looking at 150 to 250 bucks for a new control board. Now here's where it gets dangerous. If you're not comfortable with high voltage capacitor safety, call someone like me. That capacitor can hold a lethal charge even when unplugged. The ribbon cable itself is usually part of the touchpad assembly, so you can't buy it separately. But here's a pro tip from the DIY community. If the cable connection is just loose, try the paper shim fix. Insert a small piece of paper behind the ribbon cable inside the connector to add pressure. Sounds crazy, but it works more often than you'd think. Cost you nothing and might save you from replacing the whole touchpad. The membrane touchpad runs anywhere from 35 to 135 bucks depending on your model. This is the part you'll replace most often. Fair warning though, some of these are heat fused to the plastic door frame and don't peel off easily. If it's glued down solid, that might be where you call a pro. The silver conductive coating on these things is thin, so don't remove and reinstall multiple times or you'll wear it right off. Control boards, your most expensive fix at $150 to $250. Here's the thing though, this is the part people replace unnecessarily most often. I can't tell you how many folks buy a new board when all they needed was a $75 keypad. Do that ribbon cable test religiously before you spend the big money. And remember, if your microwave's more than 8 years old and needs a control board, it might be time to think replacement instead of repair. All right, if you're dealing with faulty parts after testing, let's talk about what you're looking at cost-wise and difficulty-wise. I always tell folks to try the free fixes before spending money, but when you need parts, here's the breakdown from cheapest to most expensive. Now, before we wrap up, you can see right there on your screen the most common Samsung microwave models that deal with SE error codes. Over-the-range models get hit the hardest because steam from your stovetop rises directly into those control panel vents. If you spot your model up there, you're definitely not alone with this problem. That's your complete solution for the Samsung SE error code. Follow this exact sequence. First, try a 5-minute power reset, then clean the ribbon cable connections, and only then consider parts replacement. These simple fixes solve the problem 75% of the time and can save you $200 or more in repair costs. Here's your pattern recognition takeaway. Membrane keypads, ribbon connectors, and steam-related corrosion fail the same way in other appliances across brands. Different error codes, same root problems. If you guys know someone who's having appliance troubles, please send them the link to this video or a link to my channel where I have tons of other videos showing how to fix pretty common issues with appliances, sometimes for free or as little cost as possible. It sure beats having a repairman come out and spending several hundred for them to fix it when it could be something so simple. If this helped you get your microwave working again, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Let me know which fix worked for you. Really helps other people with the same problem. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We'll get this out to more folks who need to save some time and money. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.